If there is one thing that's been a theme with this YouTube channel for 2 years now since I started making these videos, it would be looking at things in motorsport considered obscure. While the majority of content so far is focused on lost media, this video will look at obscurity from a different subject. Today's video will be a look back at an obscure racing league that attempted to replace the then outgoing Indy Lights series sanctioned by CART. This is the story of ChampCar F6000. On September 10, 2001, it was announced that CART would stop sanctioning the Indy Lights series as its own development series, one step below the flagship FedEx Championship Series. Instead, CART would focus on combining its Indy Lights operations with that of its other development series, the Toyota Atlantics for 2002. Meanwhile, weeks earlier, the Indy Racing League announced on August 31 that the sanctioning body would capitalize on the uncertainty of CART's ladder leagues by forming the Infiniti Pro Series. At the start, the series featured car chassis delivered by Dallara and powered by Q45 V8 Infiniti engines, rev limited at 8,100 RPM, to deliver approximately 450 horsepower. Despite this announcement being independent of CART's eventual dissolving of its Indy Lights series, it's nevertheless considered a direct continuation of the original CART-sanctioned series, having adopted the Indy Lights name in 2008 when IndyCar bought the intellectual property from ChampCar, before being renamed to Indy NXT last year. With the IRL now making Indy Lights their number 2 series on their development ladder and CART following suit with the Atlantics Championship, a new series would be formed, not backed by either CART or the IRL, that would fill the quote-unquote void left by the CART Indy Lights dissolving, which would become ChampCar F6000. ChampCar F6000 would be announced at the end of 2001, with a carefully planned aim to offer the drivers and fans the most essential elements of first-class motorsport. The cars utilized for this series would be the same cars that had been used previously in the CART Indy Lights, the Lola T9420 and the Lola T9720. The main power plant of choice would be the 420 horsepower V6 engine that was used previously in the Indy Lights, although teams running a T9420 could have the option of running a normally aspirated iron block V8 engine with 470 horsepower. ChampCar F6000 President Lee Abramson stated that it made sense to go with the V6, as it provided an easy transition for existing Indy Lights teams who would have the engine support that they're accustomed to. Regarding the V8 pairing with the T9420, Abramson had visited Monterrey, Mexico in early March to visit series organizers of La Formula de las Americas and was impressed with what he saw. More on that series in a moment. Meanwhile, those choosing to stick with the V6 could purchase their engines from George Montgomery through George's Speed Shop for $20,000. This is the same George Montgomery that was a dominant force in early NHRA drag racing, who was named 28th among the NHRA's 50 greatest drivers in 2000, and one of the first drivers to win the prestigious U.S. Nationals more than once, winning the race a third time before any driver had a chance to win it twice in 1963. Unfortunately, George passed away back on August 24 of last year at the age of 90. The championship structure for this series was going to consist of 3 different championships, the first being the AmCan Championship, whose events would be sanctioned by ASN FIA Canada with races in the eastern United States, as well as the Canadian provinces of Ontario and Quebec. The second championship would be a winter series run in the months of November and December, with 5 events exclusively in Mexico. The third would be a combination championship known as Formula of the Americas, which would incorporate 2 events from Canada, 3 from the United States, and 4 from Mexico. So remember what I said earlier about what was La Formula de las Americas? Well, that was another name for Indy Lights Panamericana. Sanctioned by Dipsa Automobilismo, this series would make up the winter portion, as well as having 4 of its 5 races as part of the Formula of the Americas Championship for ChampCar F6000. The series started out as Mexican Formula F3000 in 1996. Like the International Formula 3000 Championship from that period, The series would run T96 spec cars provided by Lola. What was different, though, is that International Formula 3000 would run a Lola T9650 powered by a Zytec badged Judd 3-liter V8 engine, while the Mexican Formula 3000 series would run a Lola T9670 powered by a Chrysler 3.5-liter V6 engine. Additionally, the tire supplier for International Formula 3000 would be Avon, while the tire supplier for Mexican Formula 3000 would be Goodyear. In 1998, the series would be reborn as Indy Lights Panamericana. Series promoter Filiberto Jimenez would buy up XT93 through 9620 Lola chassis from the American Indy Lights and bring them over to Mexico for the new series. A list of notable drivers to have competed in this Indy Lights series or as Mexican Formula 3000 now appear on your screen. As Mexican Formula 3000, Jamie Cordero won the inaugural championship, being followed by Jimmy Morales in 1997. Oswaldo Negri Jr., better known for winning the 2012 Rolex 24 at Daytona and 2016 Petit Le Mans overall, would win the championship in 1998 as it rebranded to Indy Lights Panamericana. Waldemar Coronas would win back-to-back championships in 1999 and 2000, and Canadian Alan Berg in 2001. Berg notably is the only driver from Indy Lights Panamericana to have competed in Formula One, when in 1986 he took over the seat at Osella at the Detroit vacated by Christian Danner, who moved over to Arrows to replace Mark Schurer. Schurer would retire from Formula One following a serious accident while competing in rally cars at the 80AC Hessen Rally, where he would suffer severe injuries and would unfortunately lose his co-driver and friend, Michelle Wider. Berg's drive in Formula One would come to an end prematurely at the end of the 1986 season. Despite 5 teams showing interest in Berg for the 1987 season, Osella, Minardi, Arrows, Tyrrell, and Brabham, his sponsor Labatt Beer dropped him following a dispute between rival brand Molson over title sponsorship of that year's Canadian Grand Prix, which would be dropped from the calendar as a result of said dispute. Without a home Grand Prix to sponsor, Labatt lost motivation to sponsor a Canadian driver, leaving Berg without a ride. At least 9 teams had confirmed entries for the season, though the majority of teams shown participating would attempt to enter later in the season, and/or had yet to finalize driver lineups. Comprent Motorsports and Algae Racing, for instance, would enter during the race weekend at Summit Point Raceway, while A&B Racing would debut during the Charlotte Motor Speedway race weekend. Additionally, 3 other teams would be contacted by ChampCar F6000 expressing interest in joining, but otherwise had not finalized any plans. Conquest Racing, headed by former IndyCar driver Eric Bachelard, would be one of those teams. The team won twice in Indy Lights, first in 2000 with driver Felipe Giaffoni at Michigan, and then with Christian Colby at Kansas in 2001. That same year, the team would make their debut in professional racing by entering the final 2 rounds of the IndyCar Series with driver Laurent Redon. In 2002, the team with Redon would run the full IndyCar season before transitioning over to the ChampCar Series in 2003, where they would remain until the reunification of both leagues in 2008 and would finally shut down the IndyCar team at the end of 2011. At present, Conquest Racing is making its second professional full-season campaign attempt in the IMSA WeatherTech Sports Car Championship by competing in the GTD class with a Ferrari 296 GT3. The first was back in 2012 when they competed in the American Le Mans Series LMP2 class. The team would secure 2 wins with drivers Martin Ploman and David Heinemeier Hansen at Canadian Tire Motorsport Park and Road America. Indy Regency Racing, headed by Sal Incandela, was another team contacted. The team was involved in Indy Lights from 1991 through 1992, 1996 through 1998, and then 2000 through 2001. The team notably scored 3 wins total with Japanese driver Shigeaki Hattori at Homestead, Miami, and Worldwide Technology Raceway in 1998, and Hideki Noda at Portland in 1997, which on the same weekend saw Mark Blundell pick up his first career kart victory in this thrilling 3-wide finish.
This is the last chance for Mark Blundell. Is he going to get down the inside into the final couple of corners? He's looking for the inside line. line. De Ferran holds the middle road. Now Mark has got to get the best exit out of the last corner. It's the only way he can do it is on the power, on the traction as he uses the slick tyres out towards the checkered flag. Gilles de Ferran leads. Mark Blundell is coming up on him. The checkered flag awaits. Across the line they go. And it's going to be Mark Blundell. Mark Blundell wins at Portland. Mark Blundell is the winner by 27 thousandths of a second from Gilles de Ferran. And what an amazing finish to the 9th round of the PPG Kart Series after losing in Detroit. Mark Blundell wins in Portland.
Indy Regency Racing also had two different stints on the professional side of IndyCar racing. Notably in 1994, two-time Indianapolis 500 winner Arie Luyendyk would drive for the team. The team would pick up their best career race finish at Michigan when Luyendyk would finish second to race winner Scott Goodyear. Finally, we have Roquin Motorsports. Headed by Martin Bates but founded by Roberto Quintanilla, this was another team that was contacted to compete in ChampCar F6000 that previously competed in Indy Lights. The team achieved a best points finish of 7th twice with Luis Diaz in 2001 and Rolando Quintanilla in 2004. Rolando is the son of former racer Roberto, who became the first driver to drive for Roquin in 1989, while Diaz is a former American Le Mans Series champion, winning the championship in LMP2 in 2009 with team owner and former IndyCar driver Adrian Fernandez. In 2002, he would move over from Roquin Motorsports and Indy Lights to join Dorcott Racing for 2 seasons in the Kart Atlantic Championship, securing 2 wins in his first season there at Portland and Road America. The championship calendar had multiple revisions before the first official race. In the lead-up to the first race at Canadian Tire Motorsport Park, this would become the first finalized calendar among AmCan, the Mexican Winter Series, and Formula of the Americas. Unique about the calendar is that each race would take place exclusively on a permanent road course or a road course layout in the case of oval tracks such as Charlotte and Pocono. Originally, the season was going to kick off at Shannonville Motorsport Park for on-track homologation between the 420 horsepower V6 AmCan cars and the 490 horsepower V8 Mexican Indy Lights cars. In an effort to keep costs down for teams though, the homologation would instead be moved to Canadian Tire Motorsport Park on the week of the opening race. Shannonville would instead see the cars on track on the June 22nd-23rd weekend for round 2 of AmCan. At last, it was race weekend and all 4 cars would turn up for homologation and the race. Yes, you heard that right. Only 4 cars would take to the grid. 1999 Canadian ChampCar Lights champion Paul Rozalowski was one driver that was expected to compete along with other late entries, but nothing materialized. The 4 drivers that would compete during the inaugural race weekend would be Cesar Jimenez, Carlos Perea, Antonio Colio, and Tommy Meechan. Meechan would start last in race 1 after arriving late and therefore misqualifying. The first race would be won by Carlos Perea, with Cesar Jimenez dropping out of the race due to a broken input shaft. Perea would sweep the weekend by again winning in race 2. All 4 cars this time would finish with Jimenez improving the second after his DNF in race 1. Despite the interest of fans and other competitors at the track during the race weekend, as it was held the same weekend as CASCAR's Canadian Tire Road Course Round, the series never raced again. Initially, the 2002 campaign was suspended due to low car counts. Going into September, though, it would be shut down for good. By then, the website would redirect to a new organization, Promosport Canada, as they would promote their new for 2003 Competition Driving Academy and Formula Junior Cup. While little information is out there, Promosport Canada appears to have ceased operations no later than 2009. The same year that its headquartered location at the Dunnville Autodrome would too be shut down. The Lee Abramson founded circuit was forced to close down after the Ontario Municipal Board declared that the track activities did not constitute a legal use under the zoning laws, as well as being incompatible with the surrounding land uses. For DIPSA, meanwhile, this meant in effect that the 2002 Mexican Indy Lights Championship would be cancelled. An attempt to resurrect the series for 2003 would be made, but that too didn't happen. At present, Dipsa today currently runs and operates the Autodromo Monterrey in Mexico, which plays host to events including the NASCAR Mexico Series, karting, and drag racing. As a final note of disclaimer, all information presented in this video may not be entirely accurate due to the lack of resources in researching this subject, so I do apologize. Instead, I will end with this blog post from HondaTech.com, which gives a basic TLDR as to what caused the eventual demise of F6000/Formula of the Americas. Thanks for watching this video, and I will see you next time.